I want you to think about the last time you stepped off a curb, not a staircase, not a mountain trail, just a regular curb at the end of your driveway, at the edge of a parking lot, outside the grocery store, a 6-inch step down to the street. Did you hesitate? Did your brain pause for half a second before your foot dropped, like it was calculating whether your leg could handle the landing? Did you reach for a car, a railing, a wall, someone's arm, anything to steady yourself before you committed to that step? Or maybe you did not step down at all. Maybe you shuffled to where the curb sloped into the street and walked around it, avoiding the drop entirely without even realizing you had made that choice. If any of that sounds familiar, I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes because your legs just told you something critically important. And I promise you, most people your age are completely ignoring this signal. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that adults over 60 who demonstrate what researchers call step-down, hesitation, that involuntary pause or avoidance before lowering themselves off an elevated surface, are nearly 2.5 times more likely to suffer a serious fall within the following 18 months. 2.5 times. That is not speculation. That is peer-reviewed clinical evidence gathered from tracking thousands of older adults over multiple years. And here is why that statistic should wake you up this morning. A serious fall after 60 is a completely different event than a fall at 30. At 30, you trip on a sidewalk, you scrape your palms, you feel embarrassed, and you move on. After 60, that same fall can shatter a wrist, it can fracture a hip, it can compress vertebrae in your spine, and a hip fracture after 65 carries a mortality rate that stops most people cold when they hear it. Nearly 1 in 3 seniors who fracture a hip will not survive the following year. Not because the bone cannot heal, because the immobility that follows the fracture sets off a cascade of devastating complications. Blood clots that travel to the lungs, pneumonia from lying in a hospital bed, muscle atrophy that accelerates at terrifying speed when you are bedridden, and perhaps worst of all, the psychological devastation of losing your ability to move independently through the world you built your entire life in. I am telling you this not to terrify you. I am telling you this because that tiny hesitation at the curb is your body's early warning system, and it is screaming at you, and you are walking right past it. I have spent more than 2 decades in orthopedic surgery, focused entirely on patients over 60. I have stood over operating tables repairing bones that shattered because the surrounding muscles wasted away from neglect. And every single time, I traced the problem backward. It did not start with the fall or the fracture. It started with that hesitation at the curb. That subtle loss of confidence in your leg's ability to catch your own body weight. Here is what is actually happening. When you step off a curb, the quadriceps muscle on your standing leg acts as a braking system. This eccentric control is the first type of strength you lose as you age. But the deeper problem is what we call neuromuscular disconnect. The communication highway between your brain and your muscles has degraded. Your brain sends the command to catch your weight, but the signal arrives late and weak. Your nervous system detects this lag, and that is exactly why you hesitate. The good news? The muscle fibers aren't dead, they are simply dormant. They are dark houses on a street where the power lines have gone down, and that is actually the good news. Because if the muscle fibers were dead, we would have a much harder problem. But they are not dead, they are dormant, they are waiting to be reconnected. And that reconnection happens through very specific types of movement. Movements that force your brain to reestablish those degraded neural pathways. That is exactly what we are going to do right now. In the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through 4 targeted exercises that directly restore the eccentric control and neuromuscular connection your legs need to step off a curb, descend stairs, lower into a chair, and navigate uneven ground without that terrifying hesitation. You need nothing but a sturdy chair, a wall, and a kitchen counter. No gym, no special equipment, no complicated instructions, just your body and your willingness to show up. But before we start, I need to be transparent with you about something. These exercises are essential, but they are only one side of the coin. There is a hidden lifestyle factor that most seniors either do not know about or chronically neglect, and without it, the exercises you are about to do will produce a fraction of the results they should. It has nothing to do with protein. It has nothing to do with supplements you see advertised on television. It is something far more fundamental, and I will reveal it after we finish our routine, because the order matters. You must create the stimulus before you optimize the recovery. That is basic exercise physiology. So stay with me to the end. Let us begin. Exercise number 1, the controlled curb step down. This exercise directly mimics the exact movement that is causing you trouble in real life. We are going to retrain your brain and your quadriceps to work together during a controlled descent. Find a thick hardcover book, a phone book if you still have one, or the bottom step of a staircase. We need a surface that is approximately 3 to 4 inches tall. If you are using a book, place it against a wall so it cannot slide. Now, stand on top of that surface with both feet. Position yourself so that you are close enough to touch the wall with your fingertips for safety, but do not lean on it. Your hands are your safety net, not your engine. Now, shift your weight entirely onto your left leg. Let your right foot hang off the edge of the surface so it is hovering over the floor. Here is where the magic happens. I want you to slowly, and I mean slowly, bend your left knee and lower your right heel toward the ground. Take a full 4 seconds to descend. Count in your head. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. Your right heel should barely kiss the floor. Do not transfer your weight onto it. The moment you feel the floor under your right heel, reverse the movement. Straighten your left knee and rise back to the starting position over 2 seconds. Pay attention to what is happening in your left thigh. The quadriceps muscle, that large slab of muscle on the front of your thigh, should feel like it is working intensely. It is lengthening under the load of your body weight, controlling the descent like a hydraulic piston. If your knee is drifting inward toward your midline as you lower, consciously push it out so it tracks directly over your second toe. This protects your knee joint and ensures the correct muscle fibers are doing the work. Perform 6 repetitions on the left leg, then switch to the right. 6 repetitions each side. Breathe in through your nose as you lower down. Breathe out through your mouth as you rise back up. If this feels too easy, slow the descent to 6 seconds. If it feels too difficult, reduce the height of the surface or allow your fingertips to rest lightly on the wall for more support. This single exercise is the closest thing to a silver bullet for step-down hesitation that exists in rehabilitation. Science. Exercise number 2, the wall-anchored reverse reach. This one looks deceptively simple, but it targets the deep, stabilizing muscles of your hips and ankles that are responsible for keeping you upright when your center of gravity shifts, which is exactly what happens every time you step off a curb or navigate uneven terrain. Stand facing a wall, about 18 inches away from it, with both palms resting flat against the wall at chest height. Your feet should be hip-width apart. Now, keeping your left foot planted firmly on the ground and your hands on the wall, I want you to slowly slide your right foot backward along the floor as far as you comfortably can, as if you are reaching behind yourself with your leg. As your right foot travels backward, your left knee will naturally bend slightly. Allow this. Your body will lean gently toward the wall, and your hands will bear a small amount of your weight. Now hold that extended position for 3 seconds. Feel the stretch in your right hip flexor and the engagement in your left thigh and glute. Then, slowly drag your right foot back to the starting position. Do not rush it. The return is where the standing leg does its most demanding work, because it must decelerate and stabilize your body as the center of gravity shifts forward again. Perform 8 repetitions on each side. Here is the critical detail. Keep your standing foot completely flat on the floor. Do not let your heel rise. Your heel anchored to the floor forces your ankle stabilizers to work, those small muscles around the ankle joint that act like the guy wires on a tent pole. When they are strong, you feel planted. When they are weak, you feel like you are walking on a boat deck. As you perform this movement, Notice how your standing ankle is making constant micro corrections. It is rocking subtly left and right, forward and back, constantly recalibrating your balance. Every single repetition is sending a high-speed signal from your ankle joints to your brain and back again, reinforcing that communication highway we talked about earlier. You are literally rebuilding your neuromuscular wiring in real time. Exercise number 3, the slow motion sit back. This exercise focuses on the eccentric or lowering phase of sitting down, which uses the exact same deceleration muscles as stepping off a curb. Stand in front of your sturdy chair with the back of your calves barely touching the front edge of the seat. Your feet should be shoulder width apart, toes pointing slightly outward at about a 1.5-degree angle. Place your hands together in front of your chest, like you are holding a small ball between your palms. This hand position counterbalances your weight and prevents you from reaching for the armrests. Now, begin to sit down, but here is the rule. It must take you a full 8 seconds to reach the seat. 8 full seconds. Push your hips backward as if you are trying to close a car door with your backside. As your hips travel back, your knees will bend, but they should never travel forward past your toes. Your weight stays in your heels, not your toes. Count every second. 1, 2, 3. If your thighs are burning by second 5, that is perfect. That burn is your quadriceps and glutes working under eccentric load, which is precisely the type of contraction that deteriorates fastest with age and precisely the type that responds most dramatically to training. When you finally reach the chair, do not collapse. Let your muscles lower you the final inch with complete control, as if you are landing a spacecraft. Then stand back up at a normal speed and repeat. Perform 5 to 7 repetitions. The lowering phase is the medicine. The standing phase is just resetting for the next dose. If 8 seconds feels impossible right now, start with 5 seconds. Add 1 second each week. Within a month, you will own that 8-second descent, and the chair will feel like it rose up to meet you rather than you falling into it. Exercise number 4, the pendulum walk. This final exercise integrates everything we have practiced into a functional movement pattern that translates directly to real-world walking and stepping. Find a hallway or a clear space at least 10 feet long. Stand at one end with a wall or counter within arm's reach to your side. Now, take 1 step forward with your right leg, but instead of immediately bringing your left foot forward to meet it, I want you to pause. Stand on your right leg and slowly swing your left leg forward and backward like a pendulum. Small, controlled arcs. Do not swing wildly. The arc should be about 12 inches forward and 12 inches backward. Perform 3 slow swings, then plant your left foot forward to take your next step. Pause again. Stand on your left leg. Swing your right leg in 3 slow pendulum arcs. Plant and step. Travel the length of your hallway this way. Then turn around and come back. That is 1 set. Do 2 sets. This exercise is extraordinarily powerful because it forces you to balance on one leg while a moving limb shifts your center of gravity forward and backward with each swing. It mimics the dynamic instability you experience when you step off a curb, navigate a pothole, or walk across a gravel driveway. Your ankle stabilizers, your gluteus medius, your core muscles, and your entire proprioceptive system are all firing simultaneously, rebuilding the integrated balance response that keeps you upright in the unpredictable real world. Focus on keeping your standing knee slightly bent, never locked. A locked knee is a brittle knee. A soft knee is a responsive knee. And keep your gaze fixed on a point straight ahead, not down at your feet. Looking down shifts your center of gravity forward and actually makes balancing harder. Trust your feet. They know where the ground is. You have now completed all 4 exercises. Sit down, take a sip of water, let your heart rate settle. You just did something that the vast majority of people your age will never do. You specifically targeted the exact muscular weaknesses and neural degradation patterns that lead to falls. You did not just exercise. You intervened. Now, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want to hear your answer. Pause this video for a moment and leave me a comment below. Which of these 4 exercises felt the most challenging for you? Was it the controlled step down, the reverse reach, the slow motion sit back, or the pendulum walk? Tell me, because the one that was hardest reveals exactly where your greatest vulnerability lies, and I can create specific follow-up content to help you strengthen that weak link. Your comment is not just feedback, it is a diagnostic tool. So please, take 10 seconds and type it out. I read every single one. Now, let us talk about the hidden factor I promised you at the beginning of this video. The one that determines whether these exercises actually rebuild your legs or simply exhaust them. It is not a supplement. It is not a superfood. It is sleep. Specifically, deep sleep. And if you are over 60, there is a very high probability you are not getting enough of it, and it is silently destroying your ability to build muscle. Here is the science. When you perform these exercises, you create what are called micro disruptions in your muscle fibers. Tiny, controlled damage. Your body's repair crew, the satellite cells and growth factors that patch those fibers back together stronger and thicker, they do not punch in for their shift during the day. They clock in almost exclusively during deep sleep, specifically during stages 3 and 4 of non-REM sleep, when your body releases its largest pulse of human growth hormone. Growth hormone is not just for children. In adults over 60, it is the primary hormonal signal that initiates muscle protein synthesis, the actual process of repairing and strengthening muscle tissue. Here is the devastating problem. Deep sleep declines dramatically with age. A typical 5-year-old spends roughly 20% of their night in deep sleep. By age 60, that number often drops to 5% or less. Some older adults get almost no stage 3 or 4 sleep at all. And when that happens, the repair crew never shows up, the micro damage from your exercises never gets fully repaired. Instead of getting stronger, you are simply accumulating fatigue and unrepaired tissue. You exercise on Monday, the damage is not repaired by Wednesday, you exercise again on top of existing damage, and by Friday, your legs feel weaker than when you started. You conclude that exercise does not work for you, when in reality, exercise was working perfectly. It was your sleep that failed you, so what can you do about it? 4 simple things starting tonight. First, drop your bedroom temperature. Cool air signals your brain to enter deep sleep. Second, go to bed at the exact same time every night to lock in your circadian rhythm. Third, get natural sunlight in your eyes within an hour of waking up to set your internal clock. And fourth, skip the alcohol within 3 hours of bedtime. It might help you fall asleep, but it completely obliterates the deep, restorative sleep where your muscle repair actually happens. If you implement these 4 sleep strategies alongside the exercise routine I just taught you, the transformation will be remarkable. Your muscles will actually receive the recovery signal they need, the repair crew will show up, the fibers will be rebuilt thicker, stronger, more responsive. So here is your complete prescription. Do these 4 exercises 3 days per week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Whatever works for your schedule, as long as you have a rest day between sessions. On your rest days, walk. Even a slow 15-minute walk around your neighborhood counts. It keeps your joints lubricated, your circulation flowing, and your neural pathways active. Optimize your sleep using the 4 strategies I just described, and do this consistently for 30 days. Here is what you will experience. During the first week, you will feel soreness in muscles you forgot you had. Your thighs will remind you they exist every time you sit down. Good. That soreness is the signal that dormant muscle fibers have been reactivated. They are sore because they are surprised. They have not been asked to work in years. By week 2, the soreness diminishes and the movements begin to feel less effortful. Your brain is reestablishing the neural pathways. The telephone lines are being re-insulated. The signal is getting clearer. By week 3, you will step off a curb and realize, mid-step, that you did not hesitate. You did not reach for anything. Your foot simply dropped to the lower surface, your quad caught your weight, and you kept walking. It will feel so natural that you might not even notice it consciously. But your body will know, and by week 4, someone in your life will notice. Your daughter will watch you get out of the car and say nothing, but you will catch the look on her face. Relief. That look is worth more than any medical test. I create these videos because I have spent too many years standing on the wrong side of this problem, holding a scalpel over bones that should never have broken, repairing damage that never needed to happen. Every hesitation at a curb that I can eliminate before it becomes a fall, every fall I can prevent before it becomes a fracture, every fracture I can avoid before it becomes a funeral, that is why this channel exists. That is why Liberty Aging exists. If this video gave you something valuable today, I am asking you to subscribe. Not for my benefit, for yours. I am releasing a video next week on the 3 silent signs your ankles are losing their protective reflexes and the simple daily drill that restores them before a sidewalk crack becomes a catastrophe. You do not want to miss it, because ankle instability is the invisible accomplice in over 60% of falls, and almost no one is talking about it. Save this video, bookmark it, pull it up tomorrow morning, and do the routine again. And then share it with one person you love who is over 60. Send them the link, text it to your brother, email it to your neighbor, post it on your family group chat. You might be handing someone back the confidence to walk to their mailbox without fear. You might be giving them back years of independence with a single tap of your finger. Thank you for staying with me through every word of this video. Your legs carried you through your entire life. It is time to carry them for a while. Now go get some sleep. A good, deep, restorative night of sleep. I will see you in the next one.